What if death isn't the end? What if some memories survive it? Across 2 different continents, 2 different families, 2 children made impossible claims. One in India, one in United Kingdom, different stories. Same terrifying question. Can memory survive death? Tonight we explore 2 of history's most chilling alleged reincarnation cases. What if your 3-year-old child suddenly pointed at a stranger's town and said, "Turn here, my house is this way." A house they had never visited, a family they had never met, a life they should never remember, and yet they knew everything. This is the astonishing mystery of Swanlata Mishra, one of India's most famous alleged reincarnation cases. The year was 1948. The place, India. A girl named Swanlata Mishra was born in a normal family. Nothing unusual, until one day, at just 3 years old, while travelling with her father, their car passed near the town of Katni. Suddenly, Swanlata pointed outside and said, "Turn here, my house is this way." Then she added, "I can get better tea there." Her father laughed, but Swanlata was serious, very serious. Soon Swanlata began telling her family more. She said her real name was Bia Pathak. She had lived in Katni. She had a husband, children, and another home. Then she began describing it: a black gate, stone floors, a very specific veranda layout, details too precise for a small child to invent. And later, researchers confirmed those details were correct. Eventually, news of the case reached the real Pathak family, the family of a woman named Bia Pathak who had died in 1939. They were stunned. Could this child really know their mother, their wife? Their relative, in 1959. They arranged a meeting, and what happened next shocked everyone. Bia Pathak's husband and son entered a room filled with strangers. No introductions, no clues. Swanlata looked around and immediately identified them correctly. Then she turned to the husband and reminded him of something private, something no outsider should know. She said, "You took 1,200 rupees from my box." The room went silent. The husband confirmed it. It was true, a private family detail, never publicly known. How could she know? But it didn't stop there. Swanlata remembered. Family relationships, personal conversations, household details, and hidden emotional memories. She spoke about events that happened years before she was born, as if they had happened to her. Because in her mind, they had. In 1961, Ian Stevenson began studying her case. He had investigated hundreds of reincarnation claims, but Swanlata's case stood out because there was something even stranger. She could perform songs and dances in Bengali, a language she had never been taught, a language no one in her village spoke. How did she know it? Stevenson called it one of the strongest reincarnation cases he had ever studied. So what happened? Was it coincidence? Hidden coaching? Childhood imagination? Or did Swanlata really remember another life? Science still has no answer, but decades later, her story remains one of the most compelling cases ever recorded, and one of the hardest to explain. Imagine hearing your child say, "I've been here before. Not this house, not this town, this life," and then they begin describing memories that belong to someone who died years before they were born. Would you believe it, or would it terrify you? Tell me in the comments, and subscribe to Mysteries Codex because some stories may begin before birth. But India wasn't the only place this happened. Thousands of miles away, in United Kingdom, another family would face an even more disturbing mystery. This time, it involved 2 children. 2 girls died in a car accident. That part is true. Their family buried them, mourned them, and tried to move on. But what happened next is why this story still haunts people today, because 1 year later, their parents began to believe. Their daughters had returned. This is the mystery of the Pollock twins, one of the most famous alleged reincarnation cases ever recorded. The year was 1957. The place, United Kingdom. A family named Pollock was living an ordinary life. Parents, John and Florence Pollock, their 2 daughters, Joanna, age 11, and Jacqueline, age 6, a happy family. A normal Sunday morning. Then, everything changed. On May 5th, 1957, the girls were walking to church. Suddenly, a car lost control. It struck both children. They were killed instantly. Their parents were devastated, but their father, John, believed something unusual. He believed his daughters would come back. 1 year later, Florence became pregnant again. Doctors expected one child, but when delivery day arrived, there were two, twin girls, their names, Jennifer and Gillian Pollock. At first, nothing seemed strange. Then John noticed something chilling. Jennifer had a birthmark on her forehead, in almost the exact same place, where Jacqueline had once suffered an injury. Another mark appeared on her hip, matching a scar Jacqueline had carried. Coincidence? Maybe. But this was only the beginning. As the twins grew, strange things began happening. They found old toys in the house, toys belonging to the dead sisters. Without hesitation, they correctly identified them. This was mine. That belonged to her. No one had told them. Then their parents took them to a town they had never visited. Suddenly, the girls became excited. They recognized streets, buildings, their old school. They said, "We used to go there," but they had never been there before, at least not in this life. The most disturbing detail was their fear. Whenever a car approached, the twins panicked. They screamed, "The car is coming for us." Not fear, terror, the kind that seemed remembered. Their parents claimed they had never told the girls how their sisters died, yet somehow they reacted as if they knew, as if the trauma had survived death. Word spread. Researchers became interested. Psychologists interviewed the family. Some believed this was one of the strongest cases for reincarnation ever documented. Others disagreed. Maybe the parents, without realizing it, had influenced the twins. Maybe grief had shaped the story. Maybe coincidence explained everything. But even skeptics admitted the details were difficult to ignore. And then something strange happened. Around age 5, the memories began fading. The twins stopped mentioning the past, stopped recognizing places, stopped talking about their other life, as if the connection had simply disappeared. And life returned to normal, but the questions remained. So what happened? Was it coincidence? Suggestion? Childhood imagination? Or did two sisters really come back? The Pollock twins remain one of history's most discussed reincarnation cases. Not because it proves anything, but because it asks a terrifying question. Can memory survive death? Imagine this. Your child looks at you and says, "I remember when I died." Would you believe them? Tell me in the comments. And subscribe to Mysteries Codex, because some stories may not end with death.